I do want to say something about one of my favorite psychological words, one-to-ones, overcoming fundamental attribution error. I do believe, and I think you make a point, subtle point at this end of chapter one, is that oftentimes by not having these one-to-ones,
Yeah.
we do have a distortion bias of how we may see our people, but having these one-to-ones can overcome fundamental attribution error. Talk about that a little bit.
Sure. So the notion of fundamental attribution error is the idea that when we see a behavior done by someone else, and let's say it's a behavior that we don't like, the person's late. We are quick to jump to an assumption that they're late because they're lazy. We tend to make an internal attribution for their behavior, as opposed to an external attribution is, well, they're late because something came up. They were helping their child, or they had traffic, or they had a long distance to travel. And so humans tend to create more internal attributions as opposed to external attributions, which are much more generous and kind. When you are meeting with people more regularly and fostering a more meaningful relationship, then they actually tend to make more external attributions around behaviors that they don't like. So that same lateness behavior, once we have a relationship, they start to give you the benefit of the doubt. They go, no, Jay is an on-time person. Something must have happened. I hope he's okay. Very different set of cognitions. And so when we think about, a manager and their people, their people are constantly making assumptions, and we can quickly lose control of the narrative that's around us. This can ultimately derail relationships as well as derail an employee's motivation, right? If they see your motives as nefarious, for example, then they just won't engage as hard in their role. And so these one-on-ones, they start to create a foundation of empathy, of understanding, and of meaning. And the more you do that, you get in a sense, you wipe away the fundamental attribution error. Managers need to always recognize that in the absence of communication is communication. There's always communication. And so when you're not engaging strongly with their people, they're creating narratives, but they're doing it through rumors.